My partner's hand was 6 inches from the guest room door when my dad grabbed her wrist so hard it left a bruise. That was yesterday morning, maybe 2 hours into Ivy's first Christmas with my family. She'd been wandering the hallway looking for the bathroom when she reached for what she thought was a guest bedroom, and my dad came out of nowhere and wrapped his fingers around her wrist and just stared at her until she stepped back. Then he walked away like nothing happened. I apologized and told her that room had always been off limits. "Have you ever been inside?" she asked, and I told her I hadn't, not once in 27 years. She looked at me like I'd grown a second head, but she let it go. Christmas morning was what I expected. My sister opened gift after gift while my parents watched with actual tears in their eyes. Everything from a new laptop to designer jewelry that probably cost more than my rent, and they clapped when she held up a pair of earrings like she'd just won an award. I opened a candle from Home Goods with the clearance sticker still on the bottom. Ivy squeezed my hand under the wrapping paper because she could tell something was wrong, but this was normal for me and I didn't know it wasn't supposed to be. After the gifts, my grandmother shuffled into the living room in her robe, and she's 84 with a mind that comes and goes like radio static, so most days she doesn't know what year it is. She looked around at the wrapping paper and said, "I'm glad you finally cleaned up the basement," and my mom's face went tight. I furrowed my eyebrows. "We don't have a basement, Grandma," I said. She made an "mmph" noise before my dad stood up and started guiding her to the kitchen. Ivy raised an eyebrow at me, but we moved on. Before dinner, Ivy wandered the hallway looking at family photos and asked why there were pictures of my sister at every age, but hardly any of me before age 4. My mom just said, "He was a difficult baby," cried whenever we brought out a camera. Later, I reached across the table for a serving spoon, and my hand passed near one of the decorative candles, and my mother lunged across the table and grabbed my arm so hard I nearly fell. "What the hell is wrong with you?" I asked, and she just stood there breathing heavy before she laughed and said, "I thought you were going to burn yourself," even though the candles weren't lit. When dinner was almost ready, my grandmother looked directly at me and asked, "How's your brother doing?" And the whole table went still. I laughed and said, "Grandma, I don't have a brother," but my mom cut me off with a sharp, "She's just confused," while my dad's knuckles went white around his fork. Ivy excused herself to use the bathroom. My mom started clearing plates, and my dad poured himself another drink, and I sat there watching my sister show my grandmother something on her phone. I didn't even notice how long Ivy had been gone until I heard her scream. Everyone scrambled toward the hallway where the door that had always been locked was hanging open, and Ivy was standing at the top of a staircase that should not have existed with her hand over her mouth. I pushed past my parents and looked down and saw dark brown stains on the wooden stairs, splattered and smeared in a pattern that could only be dried blood, with old wax melted into the floor and 27 years of dust covering all of it. My father tried to pull me back, but I was already walking down into a basement my parents had sealed off before I could form memories. The air was cold and stale and tasted like something had been rotting. At the bottom was a teenager's bedroom frozen in time, with posters on the walls and a twin bed with a faded comforter and a desk with homework still sitting on it. In the corner there was a shrine of photos arranged around burnt-out candles and dead flowers that had turned to brown dust, with dead spiders filling the vases. Every photo was of a teenage boy I had never seen before in my life. My parents came down the stairs behind me, and my mother grabbed my shoulders and shook me while screaming, "You killed him, you killed him, you killed him," until her voice cracked. My grandmother appeared at the bottom of the stairs and looked at the shrine and then at my parents, and something in her eyes shifted and went sharp and clear in a way I hadn't seen in years. "That's your brother," she said. "You were 2 years old and you crawled toward a candle on those stairs, and he ran to grab you before you reached the flame. He fell and hit his head on every step on the way down. He was 15 years old." Then she turned to my parents. "You lit that candle. You left that baby right next to it. And when he begged you to put up a baby gate because he was worried about his little brother, you told him you'd get to it." My mother's face crumpled and she turned on my grandmother. "Shut up, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about, you senile old woman. You can't even remember your own name." My father just stood there staring at the shrine with his jaw clenched so tight I could see the muscles twitching. My grandmother blinked a few times and the sharpness in her eyes faded, and she looked around the room like she didn't know where she was or how she got there. I couldn't feel my legs. Ivy took my hand and walked me up the stairs and out the front door without saying a word to anyone. I don't remember getting in the car or driving home. I just remember my mother screaming that I killed him.